Hey friends, this is Eunice. Thank you for joining me today. Today I just wanted to talk about conflict resolution and just some things that the Lord has taught me over the years and how to resolve conflicts in my life. And so I wanted to start by sharing from Matthew 16, verse 24. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "If anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for me will find it." Now, the reality of conflict is that we have so many opportunities in life to resolve different conflicts. And so whether it's a conflict you might be having with a coworker or a friend or an acquaintance, or honestly even our spouses and our children at home, I feel like there's so many opportunities in life that we need to be able to have this life skill of conflict resolution. So I just wanted to share about a story of a conflict that happened to me many years ago, but I was involved in this planning committee. And I remember we set aside about 1 hour to plan this activity that was coming up in the future. Well, the meeting started, and basically this one mom overpowered the meeting, and she just started going off about how she was unhappy about the last activity that happened and all the things that made her unhappy about it. And her voice was honestly pretty elevated, and it was getting louder and louder, but no one was doing anything. No one was, trying to calm her down. And so after about 20 minutes of this, as the clock, like I said, was ticking, because we only had about an hour to plan this thing, I just stepped in and I was like, "Hey, are you angry? Because you sound angry right now." And dude, that mom flipped out on me. She chewed me out in front of the whole group. And she just went off. Now, it was really disheartening and disturbing. And after about a few minutes, she settled down and the meeting went on. But obviously, she and I were not okay. I think the thing that was surprising to me is I thought when I pointed out, "Hey, are you angry right now? Because you don't sound you sound pretty angry." I thought that she was gonna back down and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sound angry to everyone." But in reality, she flipped out. And so I was really surprised. But when I am being yelled at, I tend to shut down. I am not a yeller, and so I don't tend to yell back at people. I just shut down because I don't know what to do. I freeze. So I went home that day really upset, and I cried. I was crying a lot, and I was praying about it before the Lord because I felt mistreated and, misunderstood. And as I was praying, I felt like the Lord reminded me of this phrase that my friend used to say. And I want to share it with you guys. And it is, I had a friend watercolor paint this for me. And it says, "First one to the cross wins." And the person that I've heard say this is my friend Therese Engel. But the funny thing is, in that situation, is I hadn't talked to Therese in about 2 years. And yet the first thing when I was praying about the conflict that popped into my head were her words from years before. Something that she has practiced in her life and in her home is first one to the cross wins, is when we go to the cross, when we go to the Lord with our misunderstandings and our, feeling misunderstood. If we come to the cross first, we are the ones that win. Because in Christ, we are disciples of Christ, and we want to exemplify Him in all circumstances. And so those were the first words that popped into my head, and I knew the Lord was trying to speak to me. But I really was resistant because it was annoying. Because I felt very justified in how I behaved in that situation. But something that the Lord pointed out to me as I was praying was, Eunice, you don't know what was going on in her life, but also you called her out in front of everyone, and maybe she feels embarrassed. And I could admit to, in the circumstance, maybe I could have handled it differently, and maybe I could have, just pulled her aside privately and talked to her, and so I felt like the Lord gave me enough grace where I had forgiven her in my heart, and I decided that I would initiate reconciliation with this person by emailing her. And so I emailed her and I apologized. I said, hey, I'm sorry for calling you out in front of the group. I'm not sure what's going on in your life or whatever, but please forgive me. And she actually wrote me back saying how she received my apology and that she was angry and she didn't realize it until that moment about how things were. And so she just started verbally processing some stuff, of how she was thinking, I guess. And so I would honestly say that she and I, like to this day, like that me initiating really caused peace to flow between us. Like I really feel reconciled to her to this day, and I feel like she feels reconciled to me. And so I just wanted to offer that to you because I feel like right now a lot of people are angry and we don't even sometimes know what we're angry about. Maybe we're just angry about being stuck at home more. Maybe we're angry about the pandemic that has, helped us or has caused us to lose some freedoms in our life, meaning freedom, like we can't go out as freely. We have to wear masks when we go out. Things like that. So maybe we have this like underlying anger. I don't know. But what I really want to encourage you is initiating reconciliation with people is really the way of the cross. And the reality of it is, I think sometimes we're tempted to just, when there's a fight or a conflict between us and another person, it's easy for us to want to just sweep it under the rug and ignore it, especially if maybe they're not that close to you, or maybe they're close to you and you still want to ignore it. But the reality of it is that when we initiate that reconciliation, Jesus initiated relationship with us, and I feel like we're following the example of Christ. Is just like he initiated relationship with us, and we initiate relationship with others, reconciliation when there's been a conflict. I feel like that's when we are really walking in the way of the cross. And so I think that it's really important that we practice this, not just in our relationships outside of our home, but in our homes, with our spouses, with our kids. I think it's really easy to get comfortable with the people that we live with. And so sometimes, maybe if you snap at someone in the house or something, you just in your head justify it like, oh, it's okay, that's normal, they'll get over it, they'll still love me. But in reality, I feel like as we humble ourselves and apologize when we've done something wrong, it softens people's hearts towards us and our hearts towards them. And so, in an example with the kids, like let's say as a mom, like one day I'm frazzled and I'm having a bad day and I, snap at the kids during their homeschooling. I could just justify it away and be like, oh, well, they'll get over it. Like they'll still love me. And that's true. But I think really humbling ourselves as parents and apologizing to our kids really keeps our hearts soft toward one another. And I would say that with our spouses too, is that our spouses, I think that we need to treat them with the utmost respect and the utmost care and love, because they're the most important relationship in our lives. Next to our relationship with Christ, on this earth, our relationship with our spouse is the most important relationship. And so I feel like as we just, apologize when we've done something wrong, keep our hearts soft toward one another, that is a key to a thriving marriage, And so I just wanted to share those tips with you. Something that I've been really proud about in my kids is seeing some of them, even as they're getting older, deal with conflict in their lives. And I've been surprised that they've been able to do it in maturity that I didn't have when I was probably their age, you know. But I think part of it is because of that example that, you know, we have tried to set in our home of when we make a mistake, we apologize to one another and ask for forgiveness. And so I just wanted to encourage you with that thought and really leave you with some ideas to ponder, because I feel like, you know, as the holidays approach and things are going to look differently than they have in previous years. And so I feel like people's emotions are all, you know, wound up. And so I think that there's going to be lots of opportunities for us to, you know, be in conflict and resolve conflict. And so I just wanted to encourage you with those thoughts, and just with the thought of the first one to the cross wins. Because I feel like that wisdom is really something that the Lord has continuously tried to impress in my heart as a woman who loves the Lord, and as a mom, and as a wife, and as a friend. So I hope that you are having a fabulous day, and I just want to thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.